I'd like to call. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Bogota Board of Education for Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. Please stand for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public body at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Bogota Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Bogota Borough Hall, communicated by letter to the record, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Bogota, and posted on the Board of Education website. Irfan.
Mr. Alcalde. Mrs. Alvarez. Absent. Mr. Alvarez.
Present.
Mr. Chavez. Absent. Mrs. Cruz.
Present.
Mr. Navarro.
Present.
Mrs. Olivo. Absent. Ms. Rocket.
Present.
Mr. Miranda.
Present.
We have the quorum.
Also present is Damian Kennedy, Board Attorney Thomas Coben, who just walked in, Business Administrator, Board Secretary Irfan Efsil, Board Secretary Elizabeth Ruiz, no student representative. I'd like to move the floor, motion to move floor hearing of the citizens on agenda items only. Do I have a motion?
Alvarez.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any member of the public would like to state your name? We have no one present. Do I have a motion to move to close?
Alvarez.
Alvarez, do I have a second?
Second.
Alcalde, any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving over to agenda items, in the section of 3.1, Superintendent's Report, Mr. Kennedy.
Okay, real quick, just a couple of things. I do have the testing presentation, the district goals that I want to present tonight. Testing presentation is time sensitive, so we have to do it tonight. But information went out to Bixby parents and staff about the Bogota Town will begin construction project for sidewalks and ADA ramps and curbing near Bixby School. So the police department has been in contact with us. We are working together to make sure that morning drop off and pickup will not be affected. Also, when it comes time to close a street, we will get word out to parents what streets will be closed for drop off and pickup, because we do all use 3 entrances and exits. So 2 of them will be utilized during that time. So that information went out to the Bixby parents and staff already. So just everyone's aware about that. And now I just like to get into our testing presentation. So let me just make this, I want to share. So. Okay, this is for the spring in 2024. This is our NJSLA and DLM testing results. New Jersey Student Learning Assessment is the NJSLA. That's a federal assessment requirement. Dynamic Learning Maps is the DLMs. That's for alternative assessments for students with the most significant intellectual disabilities. Participation rates, as you could see, over 97% in all grades. FERPA is when only 10 students, you have to have at least 10 students in a subgroup to report them out. So you'll see a lot of that later. Just so everyone understands the grading, there's exceeding expectation of level 5. Number 1 would be did not meet, partially met, approaching, and meeting expectation. Meeting expectation is 750, with the highest score being 850 and the lowest being 650. This test is for grades 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and geometry with any ninth graders taking it. Proficient score is 200 points or above. For science, same thing, 4 levels, 4, 3, 2, 1. 300 being the highest score, 100 being the lowest. So our DFG and our subgroups have to be reported out. State requires school districts to report federal subgroups data. Due to FERPA laws, a district will not report data for subgroups less than 10 students for privacy. When you have a small district, if you have a certain ethnicity and there's only 2 kids in 3rd grade, you're easily able to pick those students out. Purpose of reporting subgroups is to ensure schools providing the opportunity for all students. Subgroups data can also provide districts with data to determine if districts are making necessary improvements to close achievement gaps. Subgroups report a gender, race, ethnicity, economics, special education, ELL learners, and migrants. Our DFG is our district factor groups, where the purpose of comparing students' performance on statewide assessments across demographically similar school districts. Bogota DFG is a DE, but so everyone understands, that's based off the 2000 census. Where Bogota was in 2000 and where we are in 2024, I think is completely different. So just so everyone understands that aspect of this. Our ELA scores. As you can see, our ELA scores continue to trend in the right direction. The blue is Bogota, the DFG is schools similar to Bogota districts, and the state is in yellow. As you can see, 3rd grade, 46 for Bogota, 44, 61 in ELA, 51 for the state, 58 and 52. As you can see, I'm not going to go through each and single one of them, but we will go through some of the highlights. But ELA 7th grade, we did a very good job this year, 73%, compared to the state at 54%. ELA 9th grade, 69% compared to 58%. So we are very happy with the trends that we're seeing in our ELA test scores. Just another way to look at it, but here you can see Bogota and the state and the difference. Again, we highlighted ELA 7, but across the board, you can see overall, we were 60% compared to the state 52%. In our DFG, same thing. We were 60% compared to 47% in our DFG group. And here are the trends from 2016 to 2024. Bogota in 2016, I think we were at an all-time high right before COVID. We were really cooking in 2019 at 70%, and the state being 58%. So those were numbers that we're proud of. And as you can see, we're still, we're getting back to those numbers as that continues to rise, but we still outperform the state. Similar with our DFG group, we continue to outperform them throughout the year. Just so you can see the district average test score, again, an all-time high, 766 in 2019. And then right now that's trending upwards at 756. Here is our subgroups, male and female. One thing that we did, we are looking at in certain grade levels is how our female students are doing much better than our male students, which we're having conversations about and looking at because they are sitting in the same classrooms with the same teachers. So we have to look at, we were talking about 6th grade, there's a maturity level sometimes where some of our female students are a little more mature than our male students or a little more focused. So it's just something that popped up at us this year for the first time that we're looking at. But if you look across, for the most part, we cannot report many socioeconomic groups and ethnicity and race. We can report out on economic disadvantage. There is not too much of a disparity there, which is something that we are happy about and we continue to work on. Students with disabilities continues to be something that we have to work on that. These are students that are struggling on these state assessments compared to our students without IEPs. Similar with our ELLs, same thing where that FERPA number is not allowing us to report them all out. Math scores. Math is on the rise again. As you can see, we're a little below the state in some and much higher in other grade levels. If you look at math 3, 46 is our Bogota, 44 is the DFG, 48 is the state, 44 and 45, 36 in math 5 and 40% in math 5, math 6, 33, math 7 was something that we were happy with. We were very happy with what was going on in our middle school because that's what's really setting us up for high school. So math 7 scores 52% compared to the state at 37%. Math 8, 27% compared to 19 at the state. Algebra 1, we were 37% and the state was 39. And this was, we were a little upset about our geometry score because these are our honors kids. So we really have to we're doing a deep dive into why they did not do well on this test. But it was one of the first times that we did not do well in geometry. But overall, 39% for Bogota, 34% for the DFG, and 40% overall for the state numbers. And again, that's here. Again, geometry is the outlier, but math 7, math 8 continues to trend in the right direction. Again, at the end of the day, our algebra 1 score is what really is the most important score that really predicts future success. And that's what we're putting our efforts and energy into. Compared with our DFG group, so groups similar to Bogota, same economic and social and ethnicity makeup. As you can see, we outperform them across the state in our DFG groups. So here's something that we started really focusing on is that path to math, to algebra 1, math 7, math 8, and algebra 1. And as you can see, each year, those test scores have risen that where we're going to where we really need to get to. But we felt the focus on math 7 and math 8. We are now doing a 2-year algebra 1 course because again, at the end of the day, algebra 1 really predicts future success. So here are our trends. Again, 2019 being the high at 51% compared to the state at 43%. And right now 39 and compared to 40%. So pretty much on par with the state. DFG group, again, if you look at 2019, we were at 51% compared to 42%. And then this year, 39% in Bogota compared to 35%. Average test scores, right? Again, high 750. This year was 739. And then math, again, this is what the FERPA and what can and cannot be reported. There's not a huge discrepancy across any grade levels that has popped up. So this is just something for everyone to see. Economic disadvantage is something that we continue to monitor, but as you can see, for the most part, we're not looking at 80% versus 20%. It's all trending in the similar direction. Science continues to be a state problem. Across the state, people are just struggling with this test. So the numbers speak for themselves. We have a plan in place, which we're going to get into after this, but 10%. We saw a rise in the high school, which we were happy about because it's been the opposite. Our 5th and 8th grade, so only 5th and 8th grade and 11th grade take these classes. So in the past, our math 5 and math 8, science 5 and science 8 have outperformed the high school, where this year our science was much improved in the high school. And I think at the end of the day, what I could say is that our high school science department, we have some continuity there with some good teachers. And at the end of the day, when we have good teachers that are staying in place, teaching the subject matter, it improves overall test scores. So we're going to get a little bit more into the science, but you can see the difference. 17% we're not happy with, 3%, 3%. As overall, the district is minus 8% compared to the state. With our DFG group, we outperformed in 8th and 11th grade, but underperformed in grade 5. So again, trends throughout the year, 2017, 14, 16, compared to 25, 23, 27, 24. So this is the entire state proficient students in these grade levels in science. DFG, same exact thing. There are your numbers. Average test score. We did go up a little bit with the average test score from 154 to 163. And the same thing with our subgroups. Here they are, male, female, ethnicity, economic disadvantage. Again, you don't see major difference there. Students with disabilities, what we spoke about earlier. Our DLMs, like I said, this is for students that should be taking those state assessments, but due to some learning IEP issues, they do not have to take that state assessment, and again, sit for a different assessment that counts towards their graduation requirements. We don't have enough students that take these tests, so there's really nothing to report on them. So district analysis. Overall performance, Bogota 60% outperformed state average by 8 percentage points. 6 out of 7 grade levels exceeded state averages. Strong secondary performance in grades 7 through 9. So that's where we're trying to get to. Bogota outperforms both the DFG and the state averages in most grades. The gap is particularly notable in grade 7, where Bogota 73% significantly exceeds both the DFG and the state by almost 20 percentage points. Areas of excellence, we talked about grade 7, grade 9, and grade 4, and areas of attention and action. Grade 6 performance matches state average. Grade 3, our smallest margin above state average. Grade 8, relatively smaller gap between the state. Bringing writing professional development from 7th grade into the other grades. Piloting more rigorous ELA curriculum at the K-5 grade levels, and improving our core foundational reading skills at the K-2, so students are reading to learn by grade 11. And we're going to continue supporting struggling readings through RTI, after school tutoring, and summer instruction. Math. Bogota overall performance is slightly below the state, but above the DFG. Areas of excellence, Math 7, Math 8, Algebra 1. We're going to continue to monitor and support positive growth and trends. Algebra 1 honors, 91% of our 8th graders in Algebra 1 honors passed. Areas for attention, geometry, closely monitor progress, make adjustments to the schedule. So like we said, with algebra, we've been focusing more on giving them extra time, making it a 2-year course, doubling up periods. We're starting to look if we could do something like that for geometry, or is that just a 1-year outlier? Like we said, Algebra 1A and Algebra 1B, we're going to evaluate the 2-year algebra program. So kids this year taking Algebra 1 will now have taken it 2 years before they sit for the test. We also are going to look at the study successful practices from Math 7 program to replicate that in other grades. What did 7th grade do so well that we can move to other grade levels? We're going to continue developing targeting interventions for Math 6 transition. We're going to consider additional support structure for high school math courses. We're also talking about a summer math acceleration for advanced students to reach calculus, that over the summer they would take an advanced course so they have the opportunity to sit for calculus senior year. We're going to investigate curricular and structure support for students with IEPs and MLs. Again, I think with our mentor check and connect programs and having specific ML teachers and check and connect mentors working with our MLs, that's helped a lot as well. Science district analysis, overall percentage lags behind the DFG and the state. Areas of excellence, high school science shows the strongest performance relative to the DFG. Middle school science outperforms the DFG. Upward trends from elementary to high school. We expanded STEM opportunities for advancement and acceleration. Bergen Academy's maker space for middle school, FDU STEM classes on Saturday for high school students. Areas of attention, overall district performance indicates systematic challenges. So for the 24-25 school year, we unleashed a new science program for K-5 mystery science, and in grade 6-8, a new science program, Open Science Ed, which aligns with the NJSLS, more rigorous and more hands-on labs. We're ensuring vertical alignment in science in grades K-5 to support grade 5 assessment and ensure earth and space standards are taught and divided among the high school science courses for biology, chemistry, physics, and environmental. So that's the testing presentation. And what I wanted to do tonight also was just present the district goals. We're not going to vote on them tonight. We're just going to, I wanted to put them out there to you and the public of where I see our focus this year for the district. So the first two, I would like to continue doing our math and ELA progress monitoring, right? We want to make sure that K-6 students meet or exceed the proficiency standard tier 1 by our metrics. Students taking STAR math assessments in grades 7, 10 will improve their overall average score by at least 10 points by May 2025. Provide intervention support for students at risk in math through RTI and after-school support using Title I and high impact tutoring grant funding. For foundational reading proficiency, improve the overall district reading proficiency of students in K2. Normed assessments will be measured with Dibble's 8th edition. So the last two are two that I think are important for the district and our community. So we want to make sure that we implement a redistricting plan in a way that minimizes disruptions to students' educational experience and supports families during this transition. So this is going to be a big transition for a lot of students next year. So we want to make sure that one of our goals this year is providing clear communication to the parents. We want to make sure students are in these buildings before the first day of school. We want to make sure that there's available helplines for families that are going to have questions. Like last year when people were like, oh, we didn't know we were redistricting. We're like, this is something that we talked about for a year. It was on the referendum. It was clear as day. So we really want to have a plan in place to create this transition for our students and our families. School visits, we're talking about maybe we have to look at doing a bus run from Steen to Bixby and Bixby back to Steen. So there is no confusion about how can I get my kid if I can't drive. I live across the street. So we're looking at how we could do that in a simple drop off and pick up areas around schools. So we're going to investigate all these things and have a plan in place for the end of this year. And then the other thing I think is very important is the last one is we want to rebrand the school district. I don't think people realize the amount of things that go on in our district. I think we try to put the word out there with newsletters. We try to post on Facebook, but unless you're a part of the program, people don't realize that we have the preschool program. We have the 18 to 21-year-old program. We will have CTE classes next year. We have dual enrollment courses for students, not only to get their associate's degree from Bergen Community College, but also to start taking courses. If they cannot put all the time in to get the associate's degree, they have the ability to start taking 2 or 3 classes. Maybe they have to take a basic skills class before they could take their first math class. We give them an opportunity to take those classes, save some money while they're still in school. We have internship programs. We have a big time videography program. I just think I want more people to understand the amount of things that are going on here. And that I think is a whole rebranding of our identity. So I want to put some committees together. I want to get some feedback from stakeholders. I want to also talk about where are we going in the next 5 years, right? Like, I think we've done a lot of great work to get where we are today, but now our next progression is where are we going the next 2 or 3 years to get this word out to students, to really have a pathway for all students now with our career technical program. So those are the 4 district goals that I would like to move forward with. And then I'm open to any questions right now on testing or goals or comments.
Anyone? My only comment is keep working hard and let's move the boat forward, all right?
I'd like to know something though about science. You mentioned that that's statewide. When you speak to your counterparts and you said that you were gonna look into why that's so low, period. When you speak to your counterparts or the Department of Education, I mean, are they not concerned with that?
I mean, that's two-folded question.
I know, I'm sorry. I know.
We do speak, and again, we're trying to implement new programs, new curriculum, and that's what we try to do. We do talk to, we'll now, once the test scores are released, what Sam likes to do is look around our area to see who did really well and then say, hey, what did you guys do?
Mhm.
So that's something that we will look to do. But again, it's a state problem right now. So when you look at those numbers, it's a big problem across the state. So that's not something that we want to hang our hat on, but we want to
Of course. of
look
course.
how we can improve from what we can do here is what we can control.
And the state
but-
should be worried also. The
Right.
state should also be offering more support on that.
I can't speak for the state. I can just tell you that we.
Well, as
we'll
a
get-
taxpayer for the state, I can speak for the state and say they should be offering more support. That's all. I just wanted to see if you had any other insight on that. Thank you.
Really, the only thing that jumped out at me as well, in the gender line, well, the female population is outpacing the male population in ELA. The stark difference in math is concerning, like, a lot of those questions are word-based, so what's jamming them up when it comes to actually executing the math
Was it
versus
math or
just
geometry?
reading? Because the difference between them in reading, you would expect some level of closeness since it's so many word problems in math,
Right.
but the difference in math is significant. Especially geometry, something that the young ladies are just not getting in that.
Comprehension.
Well, I don't think geometry was good across the board for us, so, and again, that's a small number, that might be 16 kids, that's not 100 kids, so. Again, it could be specific outlier to those kids. But it's something that we're looking at.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Kennedy. We're moving on to resolution 4-1, approval of minutes, September 17th, open regular minutes. Do I have a motion to move 4-1?
Motion.
That would be Rocket and Trino Olivo. Is there any board discussion? Roll call, Irfan.
Ms. Alcalde,
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Navarro,
Yes.
Mrs. Olivo,
Yes.
Ms. Rackett,
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yes.
Motion
Under
carried.
section 5, no policy tonight. 614, education section, which approves 6-1 through 6-13. Do you have a motion to move 6-14?
Motion.
Same two.
Same.
Is there, did they do it at the same time? Any board discussion? Roll call, Irfan.
Ms. Alcalde,
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Navarro,
Yes.
Mrs. Olivo,
Yes.
Ms. Rackett,
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yep.
Motion carried.
7:10, sounded like my son there for a second. Moving to resolution 7:10, personnel section, approves 7-1 through 7-9. Do I have a motion to move 7:10?
Motion.
Navarro, second.
Second.
Rocket, any board discussion? Roll call, Irfan.
Ms. Alcalde,
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Navarro,
Yes.
Mrs. Olivo,
Yes.
Ms. Rackett,
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving 7:15, no, I'm sorry, 8:12, which is agenda items 8-1 through 8-11.
Back
You have
up.
7:15.
You were-
Oh, I had checked it off, sorry. I'm moving, resolution to move 7:15, personnel section. Do I have approval of agenda items 7-1 through 7:14? To move 7:15? Motion.
Second.
Well, that'll be
Olivo.
Olivo, Navarro.
Second.
Any board discussion? Roll call, Irfan.
Ms. Alcalde,
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Navarro,
Yes.
Mrs. Olivo,
Yes.
Ms. Rackett,
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
So may I ask you a quick question?
Mhm.
I don't motion on anything, do I? Oh, can I?
No, the motions have been made. You're just presenting it.
So I never am able to motion?
You can,
Because I'm a vote.
you can. Usually it'll come out of the committees too.
Okay.
Motion
Just-
too, but
just
we do it a little
interested.
differently. A
Do
lot
it
of times
for
the
a second.
committee person makes the motion.
Gotcha,
Then you
okay.
go around, but
He goes like that.
do the motion in a second.
No, I just never, I did it now. I've never done it and I wondered.
You wanna just try it?
No, it probably wouldn't even work. I'm just wondering if I would say, do I have a motion to move 8:12 on the finance section of approval agenda items 8-1 through 8-11? I motion. So I just, Alvarez. Second, Alcalde. Any board discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Alcalde,
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Navarro,
Yes.
Mrs. Olivo,
Yes.
Ms. Rackett,
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving resolution A13, also in the finance section, which is approval of the contract with Everyday Labs Inc. Is there a motion to move A13?
Alvarez.
Second.
Alcalde, board discussion, roll call.
Ms. Alcalde.
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez.
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz.
Yes.
Mr. Navarro.
Yes.
Mrs. Oliva.
Yes.
Ms. Racket.
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving resolution 9.3, buildings and grounds, which is approval of agenda items 9.1 through 9.2. Do I have a motion to move 9.3?
Motion.
Second. That, Navarro. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Alcalde.
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez.
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz.
Yes.
Ms. Navarro.
Yes.
Mr. Navarro.
Yes.
Mrs. Oliva.
Yes.
Ms. Racket.
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to committee reports. Are there any committee reports this evening? Moving on to,
We didn't do 10. Addendum. There's an addendum 10.
what number is 10.1? Moving 10.1, which is approval coverage of a maternity leave. Do I have a motion to move it?
Motion.
That's Mrs. Ruckett. Second was Mrs. Cruz. Any any discussion? Roll call, Irfan.
Ms. Alcalde.
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez.
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz.
Yes.
Mr. Navarro.
Yes.
Mrs. Oliva.
Yes.
Ms. Racket.
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to committee reports. Any well, we just skipped, right? No committee reports this evening. Next on the agenda is old business. Do we have old business? I'll just brief it. Have you looked at the fields?
Yeah.
Have you looked at those fields?
Yeah.
Shame on those who thought we weren't gonna make it happen. I'm gonna keep drilling that down.
Looks great.
Did you see those posts?
Yeah. it looks-
So just so you know, I go every day down there to make it a point, right, Kennedy? For someone to see me. And I wave and they know me. There's a gentleman there who's like on point. I think he's more focused on who's coming from the borough. Cause the minute you show up, he walks up to your vehicle. And I was shocked because so forgive me, right, for not knowing, but I'm asking him a lot of questions that I just don't know. So you talk about elevation. I'm like, okay, so we're supposed to be elevated. Why do we have a pitch? Why do we have a drop? I'm looking at the edge. I'm like, I'm lower than what I was supposed to be. What are we talking about? But it's just interesting how over the years, the way they teach us, like the way the park looks, so you see it even, but it's not even. It's like ditched. We are bringing it up. I still can't make sense out of it because all I remember was that I walked from here to there and I was walking level to the street.
To me, it looks so much more leveled now, like I'm seeing it even out.
But
and
there's
I-
no way to level. If you stand at the center of that field, you're about 2.5 feet lower than the road.
Right, that's what I mean, like when you were there, everything was like, you know.
So I
not
guess,
uneven.
but to me, I was like, I used to just walk straight up. That's not happening. So I'm asking a lot of these engineering questions, like, if we're supposed to elevate 6 inches above floodplains and 6 feet, what are we doing? Why doesn't, and you remember, I was like, where, so they pitch all the water out. It's just weird, right? I'm saying weird, that's not the right word. It's unknowledgeable, right, for me personally, because there's engineers who totally get it. And I contacted another engineer to just ask him all these questions and reaffirm anything they're telling me, because it simply doesn't make sense to me. And I'm pretty uncomfortable person when I can't figure something out. So I'm just like, this doesn't make sense, but it makes a lot of sense as we come along. But the best part about it, I saw it on Friday. I saw it on Saturday,
And then Sunday.
and then Monday
Was that-
morning.
I thought it was, when were you doing the video? Wasn't that
That
Sunday?
was Saturday.
Yes,
That was Friday. No, that was Friday. And then Monday, I feel like I'm inside of a stadium. All the pipes are up, the fencing is ready to go up. The color of the clay is ready to go down. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful the way it looks. And somebody alluded to maybe driving monster trucks and destroying our field, but whatever. Remember that comment, Marco?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Talk about
Shame
monster
on-
truck.
I prefer someone not
Yeah. I was-
joking about it because it's so many years
All
of
the
work.
hills are up.
And listen, I know it's funny, but
Well,
when you think about, wow, that'd probably be a cool, but you use crappy places for that, not this. And I must say, that I am so like impressed.
In awe.
And I'm at awe all the time.
I was by flag
It
football
feels
and I just
really-
had
I'm
to stop
like-
by.
I mean, I was just there with the truck, like I was just here yesterday. How is this happening? And I don't know these guys, but man, they're doing a darn good job. And I was telling Kay, all he says, is, they're moving fast, right? And Kennedy said today, and I'm gonna admit to something right now, maybe I'm not a true New Jerseyan yet. But Kennedy said today, I know, what I like is grabbing my sandwich, pulling up early in the morning, and just taking a look at the progress. And he said, yeah, I did a Taylor egg, ham and cheese. So you don't know, I've never had a Taylor egg.
Pork roll, huh?
Pork roll.
Oh,
So
no.
today, for the
God.
first time, I had a bagel, pork roll sandwich. Thank you, Kennedy. And I sat there looking at the field. So, but listen, guys,
Even Jersey's divided as to what.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't worry
you know,
about.
I'm a deli ham guy, but I,
Live up here, it's Taylor ham.
it's Taylor
You
ham.
live down
Down south, it's pork roll.
Yeah, so and it seems like Stewman's is the only company that
It's
makes
good,
it.
whatever you want to call
That's
it.
right.
Agreed,
Agreed.
Yeah, but today I was able to parlay without Kennedy, but have my Taylor egg, which I've never had. And just look at the fields, and it feels good, feels good.
I was on the other side, because I was at flag football this
Yeah,
last
yeah.
Sunday, and I was staring at it from the other view, and I just thought it was amazing.
So if you go there, so now it's like, I'm coming back from Hackensack, so now I pulled over again
Mhm.
today. And we can play baseball right now, just like I played it in
Yeah,
Harlem
those
with
guys.
no grass. I'm sorry, I did.
Don't invite that right
Well,
now.
so did
Nobody
we.
go on that field. It's not right.
But I'm just saying we could. I'm just saying we could, guys. It has the whole cutout. It has everything. It's just a feel good experience. And to see it right before your eyes that it's actually happening, it feels so good. And I'm just watching it. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm trying to figure the whole thing out. Like, okay, how's this look? It looks small suddenly. It looks like inside. And it just reminded me of Weehawken. We went to Weehawken and play a bunch of middle school baseball. And they had, and it's just coming together. You know, the walking path is already done,
Mhm.
100%. So
I drove by there today, my mother-in-law, she was like, oh, this is so exciting.
It's just
Looks so
nuts.
great.
you know what's best
you
about
know?
it? So now you come over Hackensack. So I don't know if you all felt the same, right? But when you go into Hackensack on Main, it was beautiful. I love that building they did, cause I used to say, what a waste of a parking lot.
Mhm.
Now, taxpayers in Hackensack may feel a certain way, and I totally agree about all these buildings, but I will say, I used to wonder, bowling, ice hockey, nothing. It was so empty. It was like, and now there's this beautiful building. So when you get there, there's a different feel. Now you return, and there's a different feel in Bogota.
Yeah.
A whole
Yeah.
different look. Even the wall, right? It's all used to be grass and garbage. But even, I don't know if you've all like taken a look, there's a whole wall that's been built
Mhm.
for the prevention of the river. And I gotta say, it's awesome. It's just like, it just looks different, so it feels
like a-
good. I
it's
don't
like a-
wanna bring it up, man.
It looks like a French train. Like it's almost
Yes,
like
that's
French
what-
Yeah,
trains.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like a
yeah,
French
it's,
train.
yeah, it's a retaining wall and then but it's just awesome, like,
Yeah.
just look at it, it looks clean, it makes Bogota look so much better, just in where it's at.
Exciting.
So it's exciting, and I'm sorry, it's just really, it's a baby, right? It's one of those, we're gonna nurture it and get it there, but that was all for me. Anyone else? Any new business?
Just with new business, I did email the uniform committee. We got a proposal from one of our students. So I'm meeting with Tim, but, I'm gonna let him know that we're working out dates, but after,
I'm
we
gonna
get
get
some
back.
dates, we'll figure out, have a virtual uniform committee where he can present, what he is working with other students. So, we'll have more information on that, but I did want to mention that because he's been, very good about going about the process and the proper channels right now. So, kudos to him.
On new business, I wanna do the inauguration that we've totally missed it, and I just wanna do it because not because of this, but you can't forget anyone. You have to try to like really remember everybody in this situation in life where we serve, or not say things wrong, and it's weird what is happening. We need to get along, but I would like to do the STEPS program right away. Let's do a ribbon cutting. Let's show it off to Bogota. I've just learned that a lot of people don't even know we have that. They don't know why we signed a lease. So let's get that rollout. And I think I mentioned in the past that I would encourage the board to maybe, name and give Vinny a placard in that, because he was one of those, he was a candidate that had special needs and had to learn how to wash, and he came from Bogota, went to Bogota, so he's a Bogosian, and he's passed. And not that I like to give people things, my grandmother always told me, don't give me flowers when I'm dead, give them to me while I'm alive. And I followed that tradition 100%, and I still say it. Give me flowers when I'm alive. Show me love while I'm alive, not when I'm dead. It's useless. So unfortunately, that's the case, but I did wanna, kind of get that going. I also want us to get together and take a walk through on the CTE building, right? Get started.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, that they're digging out, is that a report? I don't know if we can go in there yet.
Okay, you find out. It'd be great to show our community, because we've been talking about the fields, but they don't know about everything else. Yeah, just to peep in or something. Okay, look, we already almost have an elevator going in.
We have our hard hats already, so.
Yeah,
just
yeah, we
let us
got
know.
boots. We take full responsibility. Listen, all we
Okay.
wanna do is step in. I mean, you can't see much, but it just, when you show contractors that you care and you support, they often reciprocate, and I saw that in the fields. And I'm gonna really give that really quick. So when I first went on the fields, I went 2 times, and then the 3rd time, I was talking to the gentleman, and I said, we need to hurry up. And he kind of looked at me like, I was out of my mind. I probably had 3 snakes. And I said, look, I don't mean that, but these are the circumstances we dealt with. And he said, oh my God, I only briefly heard that, but I didn't know to what extent. Is it really a possibility that this can stop? And I'm like, yeah. He said, thank you for telling me, right? And he said, okay. And he didn't say much. He said, no commitment, but okay. That okay is what you saw. We weren't even close to that okay into what you saw today. That was a few weeks ago. So all I'm saying is that sometimes I think people appreciate that you go down and you say thank you and
Involve them.
appreciate you, and you know, we really care, because it's genuine in people, right? Is you meet somebody, say, hey, I met them, they actually came down. They didn't just come do a ribbon cutting, they come down, they say hi, they talk, they offer coffee, they care for you, right? So I that's just my personality, but maybe if we go down there, just say thank you,
Do
you
they have
know?
a trailer?
Huh?
Do they have a trailer down there?
No, no, but it's a, if we could just go check it
Saying
out.
thank you is good.
Yeah, in the right aspects of it, right? Yeah, so good stuff. I would love to do that. And then let's review our timeframes again, because I would like to these projects to be expedited, and I want to get into that auditorium. I pray that it's not next year. But just speaking out loud, let's look at those time cards again. That's all for me. Anyone else? I'd like to motion, open the floor to citizens on any subject matter.
Motion.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any member, please state your name. You have 5 minutes. No one? Have a motion to close?
Alvarez?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There's no executive session this evening. Good evening. I mean, good night, everyone. Adjourn. Adjourn.
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Alvarez?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh,
They don't want to stay here all night. Let's
good
go.
evening. everyone. Good night, everyone.